Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're exploring a really chilling true crime mystery. It's a story that has cast this long shadow over a community for decades now.
Yeah, it's one of those cases that really sticks with you.
It is, and it exposes, I think, the devastating human toll of crime, but also the incredibly frustrating challenges an investigation can face, especially when, crucial early decisions go wrong.
Absolutely.
So we're diving deep into the perplexing and frankly tragic events surrounding what are known as the Burger Chef murders.
And what this case really drills home is how initial assumptions, they can sometimes blind investigators to critical clues. It can turn what seems like a minor oversight into, well, a cold case spanning decades.
That's a really crucial point.
It's a stark lesson, Those first 48 hours aren't just important. Sometimes they determine everything that follows.
Okay, so let's unpack this. It's an unsettling story. We need to go back to November 17th, 1978, Speedway, Indiana. Just a seemingly ordinary Friday night at a busy fast food place, but it spiraled into, well, an unimaginable nightmare for four young people.
Just kids, really.
Exactly. These were employees at the local Burger Chef. Jayne Friedt, she was 20, the assistant manager on duty. Then Ruth Shelton, 17, Daniel Davis, 16, and Mark Flemmonds, also 16.
For most of them, this was probably a first job, a step into adulthood.
Yeah. And Burger Chef, at the time, people might remember, it was a big national chain. About 600 restaurants across the country back then, before Hardee's eventually absorbed them in the early 80s.
And it's important to remember who they were beyond just victims. Daniel was known for his photography, Mark was seen as friendly, selfless, Ruth creative and kind, and Jayne, a leader, good sense of humor, generous.
Their youth, their potential.
Yeah.
It just makes what happened even more tragic.
It really does.
So this Friday night, they were meant to stay a bit late, a couple of hours past closing, just for cleanup, getting ready for the morning.
Standard stuff.
Right. And around midnight, one of them opens the back door to take out the garbage. Such a simple, everyday task.
But that action unknowingly set the stage for their disappearance.
We still don't know exactly what happened right after that door opened, do we?
No, those immediate moments are still unclear. What we do know is that none of the four made it home that night.
Then, around midnight, another employee actually stops by the restaurant. He was expecting to see his coworkers.
And finds it empty.
Completely empty. And what he saw immediately set off alarm bells. The back door was slightly ajar, about $500 missing from the safe, 2 empty money bags gone too.
Okay, sounds like a robbery so far.
But here's the thing that deepened the mystery. 2 women's purses were left behind. Some employee jackets too. And Jayne's car, her 1974 Chevy Vega, was also missing.
Ah, okay. Leaving purses behind. That doesn't fit the simple robbery narrative. That's odd.
Very odd. And this is where we hit that first critical misstep in the response, isn't it?
It really is. Despite those abandoned purses, the jackets, the initial police reaction was, frankly, a huge underestimation of what was going on.
They didn't take it seriously.
Not initially. They kind of assumed it was just petty embezzlement, that the kids took the cash and went off to party.
That seems incredibly short-sighted, given the details. What was the immediate consequence of thinking that way?
Devastating and irreversible. Because they assumed it wasn't serious, the restaurant was cleaned the very next morning.
Cleaned? Like, completely?
Every surface wiped down, floors scrubbed, everything. It essentially destroyed any potential physical evidence. Fingerprints, trace evidence, signs of a struggle, all gone.
Wow. That single decision.
It was a profound setback. It basically wiped the slate clean forensically.
It was gone. You have to wonder what might have been found. What lessons did law enforcement take away from something like that, if any?
Well, it certainly highlighted the fragility of crime scenes. Procedures like, immediately securing a scene, getting specialists in. Those became much more standard after high-profile mistakes like this one.
So the real worry only kicked in later.
Yeah, concern really started to mount when the employees didn't show up for their next shifts. That's when families started getting truly scared.
And then, a few days later, another piece of the puzzle turns up. Jayne's car.
Right. Found parked on the street, strangely close to the Speedway police station, just a short drive from the restaurant.
Which just makes it weirder.
Exactly. And at that point, the police finally started calling it, and this is a quote, a very peculiar case. Still no ransom calls. Nothing.
The lack of ransom is interesting too, isn't it?
It is. No demands, the left behind items. It should have screamed something more sinister than just theft right from the start.
But the full horror, the reality of it all, wasn't discovered until that Sunday, November 19th.
2 days after they vanished?
Hikers, on on a trail over 20 miles away from the Burger Chef.
That's like a 40-minute drive back then. They found them near a high school.
Yeah, all 4.
And the details. They're grim. Varied in brutal methods. Very. Daniel Davis and Ruth Shelton, they were found first. Both shot multiple times, execution style. A .38 caliber firearm.
And Jayne.
Jayne Friedt was nearby, stabbed in the chest. But crucially, the handle of the knife, it was broken off and missing. Only the blade was recovered later during the autopsy.
Okay, that detail, the broken handle, that sounds important.
Extremely important. And it wasn't released to the public. That becomes key later on.
And Mark, the 4th victim.
Yeah.
He was found a bit further away.
Yeah, about 75 yards away. Mark Flemmonds.
Right.
He had suffered blunt force trauma to his head. The belief is he actually tried to escape, ran desperately.
Oh, God.
And maybe hit a tree trunk or something similar. It knocked him unconscious. And then, horribly, he choked on his own blood due to the injury.
That's horrifying.
But it gets even more chilling. Later analysis suggested he was also beaten further to ensure he was dead after he was already down.
Just brutal. So after this awful discovery, bodies found miles away. What were the police thinking now? What were the theories?
Well, the main theory quickly shifted to a robbery gone bad. Maybe one of them recognized a killer. Or someone fought back.
So they decided to eliminate all witnesses.
That was the speculation. There were also rumors that maybe one victim was involved in selling marijuana from the restaurant, so maybe a drug debt collection gone horribly wrong. That was another angle they looked into.
Okay. And then a witness came forward. A teenager.
Right. A 16-year-old reported seeing 2 suspicious men outside the Burger Chef just before closing time, described one as having a beard, the other clean-shaven.
A bit vague, but it's something.
It gave them a starting point. They tracked down one guy based partly on that, who was apparently bragging in a bar about being involved.
Bragging about it? Seriously?
Yeah. The lead investigator, who was really dedicated to this case, actually went undercover. Played pool with the guy, trying to get him talking, hoping for a slip-up, a confession.
Wow. Undercover. Did it work? Did this guy crack?
Unfortunately, no. He was brought in, questioned. He even passed a polygraph test.
Polygraphs are tricky, though.
They are. Often not admissible in court, but used investigationally. The key thing was he didn't know those specific details that weren't public, like the broken knife handle, or exactly how the others were killed.
So his bragging lacked the inside knowledge.
Precisely. Without that, it wasn't enough to really pin it on him.
So with no solid leads, the trail went cold again.
It did. Weeks turned into months, then years. By 1981, still no confession they could trust, no real suspects, and almost no physical evidence because of that initial cleaning.
Just the knife blade.
Just the blade. They didn't even find shell casings at the scene initially. They were really desperate.
You can imagine the frustration.
Absolutely. The lead investigator became quite fixated, haunted by it. He apparently got so desperate he started exploring really unconventional methods.
Like what?
He reportedly reached out to psychics, even learned hypnosis, hoping maybe he could pull some buried detail out of a witness's memory, a face, a license plate, anything.
That shows incredible dedication, or maybe desperation.
Probably a bit of both. The pressure must have been immense.
But then, years later, November 1984, 6 years after the murders.
A break.
A potential one, yes. A tip came from inside Pendleton Correctional Facility. An inmate there wanted to confess to the Burger Chef murders.
An inmate? Who was it?
Donald Wayne Forrester. He was 34 at the time, just convicted of rape, facing a 95-year sentence.
And why confess now?
Well, the timing was significant. He was about to be transferred to Indiana State Prison in Michigan City, a really rough place, especially for inmates convicted of sex offenses. He apparently wanted to confess to avoid that transfer.
Okay, so a motive to talk. Did they know anything else about him?
Yes. They found out he grew up around Speedway, lived there when the murders happened, and he had actually just been released from prison for another rape conviction shortly before the Burger Chef incident.
So they interview him on camera.
Yes, and he confesses. He specifically admitted to killing Daniel Davis and Ruth Shelton.
What made his confession different? More credible than the guy in the bar? The details. The investigators drove him out to the site where the bodies were found, and he showed them exactly where each body was positioned. Details that had never been released publicly. He nailed it.
Wow. Okay. That's specific.
Very. And over the next couple of years, he gave them more information. His version of that night.
What was his story?
He claimed Jayne's brother owed drug money. The brother was later arrested on drug charges, incidentally. Forrester said they went there just to threaten Jayne about the debt.
Just a threat.
That's what he claimed. He said a fight broke out, one of the boys fell, hit his head on their car bumper, and died accidentally. Then, according to him, they panicked. Being idiots, as he put it, they decided they had to kill all of them because they were witnesses.
And they drove them away in Jayne's car.
Yes. He admitted shooting 2 people himself, and crucially, he claimed 3 other men were involved.
3 others again. And did anything corroborate his story?
Yes. 2 massive things. First, he knew about the knife in Jayne, and he knew the handle was broken off. That secret detail.
The detail only the killer should know.
Exactly. Second, he claimed he threw the gun, the .38, into the White River off a specific bridge. They searched, never found the gun, but they talked to his ex-wife. And she gave them something incredible.
What did she say? This sounds like a turning point.
It should have been. She told them about a time Donald took her back out to the woods where the bodies were found, not long after the murders.
Right.
To retrieve shell casings, apparently from a previous time he'd been shooting out there. She said she waited in the car while he went and picked them up.
Okay. It's weird.
Weirder still, she said, when they got back to their old house, he flushed those casings down the toilet.
Flushed them?
Yeah. So the detectives got a warrant, an unusual one. They went to that old house and dug up the septic tank.
No way.
And they found them. .38 caliber shell casings, consistent with the murder weapon.
That's amazing police work, connecting those dots.
It was huge. Direct physical evidence potentially linking him to the weapon type used in the murders, found based on his ex-wife's very specific account tied to his actions near the body site.
So they have the confession. They have the secret details. They have physical evidence corroborating his ex-wife's story about casings connected to him and the weapon type. This has to be it, right? Case closed.
It looked like a slam dunk. You can imagine the relief, maybe cautious optimism from the investigators, the families.
But sense of but.
But tragically, yes. Just as they seemed on the verge of finally getting justice, the case just crumbled.
Now, what happened?
On November 14th, 1986, someone inside the police department leaked the information, leaked that Forrester was the suspect, leaked details about the investigation to the press.
Oh no, a leak.
A catastrophic leak.
What did that do?
Just 3 days later, Donald Forrester recanted his entire confession, pulled it all back.
Why? Because it was public.
He said he was terrified, feared retaliation from those 3 others he mentioned, his supposed associates, feared for his life in prison now that everyone knew he'd talked.
So the leak directly led to the recantation.
It seems almost certain. And that was a massive blow. They had the confession on tape, yes, but with him now recanting, prosecutors felt they couldn't move forward. They felt they needed more final evidence. Maybe the names of the others, the murder weapon itself, something they couldn't get without his cooperation, which was now gone.
That is just infuriating, unbelievable. All that work undone by a leak.
It's heartbreaking. So on December 22nd, the police had to announce it. Donald Wayne Forrester would not be charged for the Burger Chef murders.
And the case went cold. Again.
Back to cold case status, active investigation. But obviously no closure for the families.
And Forrester, what happened to him?
He died in prison in 2006, still serving time for the rape conviction, never charged for the Burger Chef murders.
And the lead investigator.
He remained obsessed with the case, always believing they had the guy. It reportedly haunted him until the day he died.
It's just an enduring, tragic mystery. I know in 2018, on the 40th anniversary, investigators actually released a photo of that knife blade. Still hoping for leads.
Still hoping someone might know something. And that question of the 3 others Forrester mentioned, it just hangs there. Were they real? Who were they? It fuels speculation even now.
This case really is a sobering lesson, isn't it?
It is a profound one, even with a confession, corroborated details, physical evidence. One mistake, one leak can fracture the whole path to justice. It shows how fragile even strong cases can be if procedure isn't perfect.
And the human cost. For the families, the community.
Yeah.
Living with that lack of resolution for decades. It's immense.
Absolutely immense. It never really goes away for them.
It really makes you think. In that search for justice, how much weight does a single mistake or a recantation driven by fear actually have against physical evidence? Especially when it points so strongly towards someone, it's a tough question.
It is. It forces us to look at that difficult balance between getting a confession and getting absolutely undeniable prosecutable evidence, and how easily things can go wrong, leaving families waiting.
What a truly tragic and frustrating story. Thank you for walking us through it.
Thanks for having me discuss it. It's an important case to remember.
It is. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive. If you found this discussion compelling, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. It helps others find these stories. We'll see you next time.